Good morning and welcome to Shop Talk Live. My name is Jeremy Kemp and I am the Director of Products at Mathews Company. And this morning we're going to be talking about MC tower dryers and tower dryers in general. And as always, I've assembled a panel of experts that will join us via the phone. From Ohio, we've got Regional Manager Ryan O'Neill. From Minnesota, Regional Manager Nick Close. And also from Minnesota, coming to us from Freeborn, Minnesota, we've got a Tier 1 dealer extraordinaire, Tim Beyer. So let's go ahead and start talking about tower dryers in general and why someone would select a tower dryer over the other styles of dryers that you may have to choose from. So when we talk about continuous flow dryers, which are what we primarily see in North America, you've got low profile dryers, you've got mixed flow dryers, you've got expandable dryers, so there's a lot of options out there. But tower dryers have consistently been one of the favorites among MC customers. So generically, let's talk about why would someone select a tower dryer over those other options? And I want to kick that question out to the panel. Ryan O'Neill is talking to producers on a daily basis, and he can probably best answer why they're selecting tower dryers. Will you go ahead and tell us the advantages and if there are any disadvantages to a tower dryer versus the other styles, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. Ryan O'Neill, Regional Sales Manager. The most efficient continuous flow dryer is actually the 10-foot tower. It can be MCs or the competitors, but typically that is the most efficient dryer on the market. That's continuous flow. They're very simple. They have fewer moving parts. They have one fan, one burner. Obviously, the higher you go, the more capacity you're going to put out. And for the bang for your buck, they've got great efficiency. But to have that great efficiency, one of the downfalls of the tower dryer is that you have to maintain to keep them clean. And that's probably the most downfall to a tower dryer is you have to keep them clean to gain that efficiency. Another thing for the tower dryer is it's got a lot smaller footprint than a profile or whatever. So like I said, the taller you go, the more capacity you're going to get out of that. So those are a few things. I guess the one fan, one burner, and fewer moving parts is a huge seller. And I think the biggest seller for it is the smaller footprint, Jeremy.
Okay, that's interesting. And of course, you know, like you mentioned, vacuum cooling is the most efficient from a cost perspective. But let's talk a little bit about the MC lineup specifically. So we've got 8 models of modular tower dryers that are 10-foot diameter and 12-foot diameter. You want to talk a little bit about our lineup, Ryan? What type of producer our 10-foot tower fits, our 12-foot tower, our naming convention, does it actually have any meaning? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so if you take a look at that chart on the models, obviously that starts with a 10, that's a 10-foot diameter, or the 12 is a 12-foot diameter. The middle number would be how many sections high it is, and then the last number is how big a fan is on that dryer. Like I said, and then if you look down in there, obviously you see the capacities and the airflow, and it's a great tool to have to take a look at to see what best fits your application.
Okay, well thanks, Ryan. It looks like we've got models that range from around 700 bushels an hour all the way up to nearly 3,000 bushels an hour at 5-point removal. So that's a wide range that ought to fit about 95% of your on-farm operations and even some small commercial operations. Now let's talk about MC features specifically. The first feature I'm going to mention is MC quality. And if I want to show you MC quality, the best way we could think to do that would be to show you how these dryers are made. So we took a brief trip out to our assembly line, and we've actually got a brief video for you to view that shows these dryers in assembly process, and I think that'll show you some of the build quality and some of the heavy duty features that are built into an MC dryer. So go ahead and cue up the video. I'm standing at the end of the Mathews Company tower assembly line, and we're out here today because I think one of the best ways to show you some of the product features and the quality that goes into an MC tower dryer is to show you that dryer in process. You'll get a feel for the build quality and the high quality components that we use. Let's take a look at this 8-foot 10530 tower section that is actually at the end of the line. Where I'm standing right now, this section is awaiting testing. We do an extensive factory quality check before any dryer leaves our facility. We have 2 factory trained quality technicians that will be checking this dryer out, and it won't leave until we know it's going to function right for its owner when it gets there. Let's start by taking a look inside. Actually, before I even open it, let's take a look at some of the small features. We've got a laser cut logo on our door here. You've got a louvered door that functions very nicely. If I open it up, you see a stainless steel floor, and one of the unique things about this dryer being a 10530, it's the only model where you'll actually see your fan motor, your fan assembly, and your sweep all in the base section of the dryer, and that's because this is the smallest model of 10-foot towers that we make. We redesigned our takeaway equipment for the 2020 year, and you're seeing a direct drive system that's new for 2020. We're pretty excited about that, as we expect, well, we know, we don't expect, you're going to have more torque and fewer problems with your sweep system. Now we're taking a look at our gas train. This particular dryer is headed to Canada, so this gas train may look a little bit different than your dryer, as it has to meet some specific Canadian listing requirements, but the idea is the same across the board. As we continue around the dryer, you've got another free air door, access once again to the floor section of the dryer. We've got a customer box. You can actually connect your equipment to that. We've got our low voltage cabinet right here. Something I'm going to show you very briefly. The Pinnacle 2020 dual touchscreen controls. They're not powered up at this moment, but you can see the full 10-inch screens. Absolutely gorgeous. Built-in redundancy and usability. As we come back around, I skipped one of the key features that I may as well show you right here, and that's all the wiring's clean, labeled, easy to work with. This being a Canadian dryer, it's 575 volt, but your other voltages are going to look very similar on the inside. Now let's take a walk and take a look at some of the other dryer components as they're in process on the assembly line. One of the nice things about being on the assembly line is you're actually able to see components that even an MC dryer owner would never see. Right here you're looking at solid channel construction that goes underneath the floor right into the center dump that the sweep would be pulling the grain into, and you can see the heavy gauge solid channel construction that we put into every dryer. You can see how it is set on legs so we can ensure that it is level. Let's go ahead and move a little further down the line. And here's another interesting shot of an MC tower dryer. You're actually seeing the inner screens with no outer screens, so you can see our heavy gauge partitions, the nice wide grain columns. You can see how this section, this 8-foot section, is assembled on a jig, ensuring that every section is going to bolt up to the section below and above it just perfectly without headaches or problems. The load will be transferred nicely, and this dryer will last for years. Let's go ahead and take a look at the burner section. I am standing next to the burner housing for a 10-foot diameter tower dryer. And what you see here is that you have an enclosed burner. You have a burner that's engineered to fit in the airflow. The burner cone helps ensure the proper air velocity as the air exits from the burner housing. And from here, let's go take a look at another 12-foot diameter tower that's under construction. And now I'm standing in front of one of the most massive sections you're going to see under assembly. This is the fan housing and fan section for a 1228-150, our largest modular tower dryer. This dryer, when fully assembled, will be well over 90 feet tall. You're looking at a massive fan housing to dry massive amounts of grain. You see the same type of heavy-duty construction that we had in the 10-foot tower. You see these massive brackets. Just everything here is just big, built to handle the heavy loads that these dryers are going to see for years and years to come. So I think this is a great way to wrap up our tour. Let's head back to the studio. I hope that view of the MC Tower assembly line gave you an idea of the type of pride we put into each and every dryer that leaves Crystal Lake. And now I want to move on and talk a little bit about the specific features that make MC Towers the best option for your operation. So I'm actually going to ask a question of Nick Close, our regional manager out of Minnesota, who's talking to producers every day. And I'm going to ask this question like I'm on the floor of a trade show. And here's the question, Nick. When someone wants to know why MC, why should I buy an MC Tower dryer over brand X's Tower dryer? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, good morning, Dick. There's several different things like you got up on your screen there, but the ones that really stand out to me because of our specific design, one would be the slope floor, self-cleaning slope floor. In the upper part of the dryer where all the heating is done and grain drying is done, right at the bottom of that section is our slope floor, and that is to promote cleanliness of the inside of the dryer, where anything that falls down on the inside of the dryer doesn't go down into the burner. It is reintroduced into the grain column at the bottom of that heat section. That is MC exclusive. One of the other things, besides what you got on the screen there of our quiet inline centrifugal fans and single burners, would be the inverted cone. That is also an MC exclusive. When we first came out with this idea and had dryers standing right next to each other, one with an inverted cone and one without, we found out that by pushing that air back out into the column, because the airflow is going up, that we increased capacity quite a bit on the dryer that had the inverted cone. So that became a standard in all of our modular tower series in our tower dryers. That would be one of the other things that is MC exclusive. I'd also like to mention our dual touch 2020 touchscreen is with the graphics on it and the way it performs, so you can have controls and be able to monitor what's going on with your dryer, is another one of the reasons to buy an MC. And just because we are the dryer specialist with 65 years of being in business, that says a bunch in itself. Not to mention one of the best dealer networks in the business. So I think there's a few of the things there that are MC exclusive.
All right, well, thank you for that, Nick. That's a great answer. I bet you've been asked that before. And speaking of our fantastic dealer network, we've got one of the best longtime dealers that we have in our network on the phone. Out of Freeborn, Minnesota, Pride Builders is owned by Tim Beyer. He services dryers, he sells dryers, he favors towers, and he's sold lots and lots of tower dryers over the years, and he sells exclusively MC towers. So Tim, I'm going to ask you, why is it that you like tower dryers and specifically MCs? What's kept you so loyal after all of these years? Go ahead, Tim.
Well, thanks, Jeremy. We've always kind of been the tower dryer guys around here from our days way back to, the Butler and the Canson. And, I hear a lot, well, they look at these new tower dryers and say, well, this is the old Canson, right? Well, that's where it got its roots. But, Round is about the end of the similarities anymore to them. MC's always been a great company to work with. They back their dealers. And, just the product that they put out, is really second to none.
Hey, thank you, Tim. That's a pretty good endorsement. So with that, do we have any questions from the field? It looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off from the grain dryer capital of the world. Have a great day.